I don't know about you, but even though I still fight, train, spar, and get hit in the face on a daily basis, I still want to keep this pretty complexity of mine, okay? And whoever you believe in, I'm sure they want you to keep that pretty complexity of yours, okay? And in today's video, I'm gonna show you just how to do that with different various types of blocks. Alright guys, my name's Chris. Welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to Sicat Kickboxing Club. And if you haven't done so, please subscribe to this channel, hit the like button if you get value out of this video, and also share this with anyone that wants to learn the art of kickboxing, be confident, self-defense, be fit or healthy. I also run a martial arts podcast. You could get a lot of value out of that. I talk to people that's high level, that are professionals, from hobbyists to just practitioners, from beginners as well. So go check that out. And also go check out my website, chrissicat.com, and sign up for my email list. My whole goal is to build a strong kickboxing community. All right. And like and comment to see or to let me know what future videos you want to see, or if you have any questions about this video or any other videos I have. So what I want to talk to you about is that, yeah, just what I said in the intro is to keep you looking handsome or beautiful, all right? And I'm gonna show you that by these blocking techniques. Now, I know whenever we see like these Instagram videos or these YouTube videos of, quote unquote training videos, of street fight videos or training at the gym videos or whatever, they don't show much of like a defense blocking type. But like I always say, since I've played sports pretty much all my life, is that defense does win championships. I mean, just ask Floyd Mayweather. He's the best defensive boxer of all time, right? Arguably. So defense wins championships. And I thought this video would be important to make because it is the most realistic aspect of self-defense on really the core of how to defend yourself. And that's what we're here for, right? I mean, that's what the poll suggested that you guys want to hear. And from that, then you could start working on my other videos like elbows, knees. But this one is the most important to me, okay? Like I was saying, the elbows is my favorite attack because it's pretty much the most brutal and the most effective to me. But this one is the most important. So listen in. I'm gonna show you different different types of blocks to keep that face looking pretty, all right? So let's get right into it. The number one I'm gonna show you, okay? I'm gonna show you how to block first, how to shell up, okay? This one is kind of like what you learn as a beginner, all right? They always tell you to keep your hands up. I've done this, just a disclaimer, I've done this for my prior videos, but I'm gonna show you different types of variations, especially in the self-defense aspect when you don't have those big puffy gloves, all right? I've mentioned it in a few of my videos, but this one is going to be more descriptive and more complex. So the first one that we learn is the shell. It's pretty much like this, okay? The shell is, yeah, you don't want to shell up too much because it makes you like a human punching bag. But the thing is that you have to know how to do it just in case someone is like straight up just trying to hit you up with a barrage of punches or a barrage of attacks, right? And you can't find a second to counter and you just kind of have to sit there and let them get tired for whatever reason, okay? So the shell is just this, okay? This is pretty much it. Now, the basic details that I wanted to kind of like explain when you're doing the shell is that, look, my shell is nice and tight. You see that? Like it's a high guard, but then I can kind of dip down in case they go to the body. But most likely in like a self-defense situation, especially with like beginners or untrained fighters, say if you were going against them, they're not like, least likely they're gonna go for like a body shot unless they watch like too many boxing videos and they just are trying something out, right? Or unless they're trained. So with a shell, You want to keep your guard nice and tight. You see that? So nothing gets through. But look, the distinct is that I still have room right here down the middle, okay? Right there, you see that? But look how covered I am. And like on my last videos, I was talking about like the windshield, right? You don't have to move your hands. Go check that video out. But you don't have to move your hands very far. Look, it's called windshield wiping. So see, if someone tries to elbow you through here, you could just close it, but you could still see. You see that? And then if someone tries to hook on you from this angle, see, now you're covered to the ear, your temple. And then if you do it the other way, you see? So this is the shell, all right? Check out my other video for a full explanation of it. But this is the basis, right? This is a shell. And guys, I just want to make it clear that this is without boxing gloves, okay? This is like practical self-defense for in case you get into some stuff. Don't do it. I don't condone violence. But just the worst case scenario, okay? That some drunk guy tries to attack you or something. But that's the shell right here, right? Have a good base about you and shell up like this, okay? Now, the problem with the shell is that if you're shelling up like this, you literally, you don't have any frames. It's just one of the blocking systems that you can use, all right? At a high level, not always, but when you've been doing it for a while and you've trained with high level people, they won't usually shell up like this the whole time. You see that? Okay. Now, I know what I just said is that the beginners, like coaches will tell you to put your hands up, which is great, okay? Which is great, because that's my motto, is always have your hands up like this, you know, when you're boxing, like this, like this. But when you get more into the advanced stages, here is the next tip, is that you're going to start framing off. And I'm gonna call this like a long guard / long frame, okay? So the long guard is mostly used in like Thai kickboxing, I mean combat sports in general, but it mostly, you get it out of like Thais. So they have a long guard, which is this. You see that? You see that? Right here, okay? Like that. You're still covered right here, but the reason why they stick their hand out like this, okay? Like this, is that to create space and distract their opponent. I love this. This is my favorite kind of defense tactic because it can be used as defense and offense. When you go to a long guard, say for this, look, you can see your field of vision compared to a shell is much greater, right? Your peripherals, you can see for your peripherals and you could really see at a wide angle because you're not so blind like this. Now you can really see, right? You have more depth. And when you long guard right here, look, you can manage the distance, all right? Like, remember what I was telling you with the range video? Over here, you can manage your range. If you could hit him with a jab, as far as like boxing technique, if you could hit him a jab, you could pretty much hit him anywhere without overextending. So that's your cue. So if you could hit him with a jab, you could hit him anywhere. You see that? Without overextending, that is, all right? So with the frame, that's one reason to use it, all right? Your field of vision, you have a great field of vision instead of the shell. Number two reason is that you can keep them away. That's why it's literally called a frame, all right? When you frame off someone, what that really means is kind of not like in a way pushing off someone, but just keeping a distance between you two. You kind of have a guard railing to keep a distance, which is gonna be this arm. That's why you're sticking it out. And look, you see that? Now, there's a few ways of doing this, right? The frame. You can have a bent arm like this, okay? But the problem is with the bent arm is that, look, just like if you weightlift, all right? I weightlift as well. So I'll use this analogy. When you weightlift, when you lock your arms like this, right? Look how solid. It's kind of like a wall, like a structure, right? You're holding it up and it's hard to collapse on it, right? It's hard for your arms to collapse. But if you have your arms bent, look, it's easy. It's easy for your arms to collapse because there's no frame structure. That's literally why it's called frame. Again, bend your arm like this, which is two schools of thought. I always say never, okay? Because when you frame like this, the closer they get, you're going to have to kind of do this, okay? And I prefer this instead of this because that's a means for them to like just straight up and go ham on you, just straight up and barrage you with punches or elbows or whatever. So when you frame off as they get closer, look, you have this right here and you got this whole thing. You could still block like this, keep your hand up, you see that? And then you could windshield wipe, right? You notice what we're doing, we're starting to chain things together. You could windshield wipe, you can adjust this arm here for more protection, or here, right? But if you want to manage maximum distance and you want to really keep that opponent away from you, then you're going to, look, the structure, and look, if they try to get close, especially if they're like a shorter fighter, look, you can put this on their head and it's hard for them to get through because you literally have a frame. Now, I know that they could go the other way, the other angles, but look, you can literally windshield wipe. It's kind of like 300, right? They have the spear and the shield. That's exactly like how I think of it. This is your spear and this is your shield. Look, a shield that you can adjust, right? Because your arm's pretty skinny. So look, boom, boom, adjust. You see? That is my favorite out of all these that I'm gonna show you, okay? Well, I'm literally gonna show you one more, but that's my favorite out of the three that I'm going to show you is this frame. Again, since it's my favorite and I think it's the most effective, and I think personally it's one that should be a priority in your toolbox. Look how covered I am. You see that? Look, if someone's hitting me, boom, boom, and then you could counter, right? You're not like a sitting duck like this. Now, again, there's times to do this if you're waiting for them to get tired, right? There's times where you could do this, have a heavy base, right? Depending on what your intention is, okay? If you're waiting for them to get tired, or if you're waiting an opening for them to get off balance, right? When they're throwing a barrage of punches, because that means they're off balance, then yeah, if it's intentional, you could counter back, right? You could counter back. But for this instance, it's just a general example. Now, the other one, since I do come from a boxing background as well, is the Philly shell. Now, it's not really how I do it, personally, just how I do it, is not your traditional boxing Philly shell, because you have to modify it into MMA striking and kickboxing striking. So usually boxers will go low and they'll kind of have like, they'll be really bladed like this, right? Bladed meaning you could see their side. That's blading right here. But for me, as a kickboxer, I'm more front forward and I'll Philly shell like this right here. And then I'll kind of have my elbow up. You see that? So with boxers, they'll kind of have their elbow down a little bit so they can see. And plus they have those puffy gloves. Let's not forget about that, right? So they have gloves to protect them. This glove right here to protect them like this. But for me, I had to keep it here because in most like MMA situations, you got those small gloves. It's pretty much your bare fist. So it's easier to get through. So over here, I'll have my elbow up like this, and then I'll adjust as I go, you see? And then I'll roll over as I go like a boxer. I know this seems more like advanced, which it is. The Philly shell, to me, is actually more advanced than a lot of blocking techniques because, number one, I think it's just a bait, right? Part of it is you're baiting your opponent because, look, you can literally see like a lot of my face and I'm bladed. So it makes the opponent think that you're very, very vulnerable, which you kind of are, but then you have an intention behind it. That's why I say it's advanced, because you're pretty much like 2 or 3 steps ahead when you're doing the Philly shell, because you're intending on really making the other person act first, okay? So that you can counter them, block them, you know, and all that. This is also one of my favorite ones because I'm so used to doing it, number one, but I like this because I can roll off. You see that? That rolling off, I like it, number one, because it'll shift my weight over here, and then I could go back with a counter, maybe with an elbow if they're close enough, with an up elbow, or I could go here, boom, right? That's why I love my elbows, because they're nice and quick and powerful. And or I can roll off the punches, and what you'll see in traditional boxing, right? When you roll off, now my weight is shifted right here to my back leg, and then I can, boom, right? Boom, throw a power punch, right? So yeah, you can easily counter with it while you're baiting to get a shot off of them, all right? So the Philly shell, I'll get into later, more, advanced. Maybe I'll just make a individual off that, because it is a useful blocking technique. But mostly in this video, guys, personally for me, I want you to focus on the second one that I thought that I taught you, which was the frame, because it's adjustable, it's easy to do. You just pretty much stick your hand out and have your hand like this, right? And then as you get better at it, like with anything else, you can kind of manage. And mostly the most important part is that your peripheral of vision, right? You have a wider angle right here. Instead of doing this, look, you're kind of almost blinding yourself like this, okay? Even with the Philly shell, you feel just, when you're starting off especially, you just feel very, very vulnerable, all right? So the frame right here, I'll leave you with this. I want you to get this down instead of the other two, but obviously it's always nice to have all three in your toolbox, all right? So here, frame, right? You could adjust your arm here, and then if you want to make it more solid to keep it away from you, you see, straight arm, like you're benching, right? And then you can adjust this as you go, right? So Spartan, or the movie 300, right? Sparta, all right? Look, right? You're literally, it's like a spear and a shield, you're moving. You see that, right? Imagine me coming up to you, like, look, to end this video, imagine me coming up to you, like, look, you see that? Boom, 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 boom. That's a scary thing. It's been done to me before, that's how I know. But again, guys, subscribe to this channel if you're liking the videos, like the video, and also share this with people that are interested in kickboxing or already do kickboxing that want to get better at it. And also, again, check out the podcast. I'll click the show links down below. And also, yeah, sign up for my email list. And this community is growing, and honestly, I love doing these videos, and I'm getting great feedback just from like subscriber base and comments. And yeah, just comment on what you want to see, what your feedback is, and what you like about the videos. Cool. I'll see you on the next one, guys.